Hi, it's the 14th of the 12th to 16, and we've just heard that Aleppo is being besieged, really, and that the war in that particular town, at least, is nearly over. And people are saying, why haven't we got involved? Why haven't we done more? The people in the Syria are saying the world is not listening, the world hasn't done anything. But it is a case that things are, as they people say, it's not always black and white. I realise this later in life more than anything, because the West has tried to get involved, and well, first of all, we tried to get involved with Iraq, and we tried to regime change there, and that resulted in much death for the civilians there, and also for our own soldiers, and a knock-on effect in Afghanistan as well. And we also have the issue now that Russia is going into Syria, where USA and the West hasn't so much. And they're not trying to regime change, they're trying to support Assad, which is doing the opposite, really, to what the USA and the West did in Iraq, and we had terrible consequences there. Um, so I think there was a lady they had on the radio today. I'm not sure if she was from the UN or not, saying shame on Russia. Had they, shame on what they were doing. But I think one of the other things that I've learned also during this last 10 years or more or so with regard to the Middle East and the wars and the way they live there is that they're living in different factions, different groups of and religious groups as well, which is something that we're not familiar with here in our society, and we can't. They don't think the same as us because of that. Their thinking is according to the Quran, most of them, um, and even if they're secular, which I think Saddam Hussein was, it's still within the society there as a whole. And we had with Egypt as well, where they had democratic elections, and they only had two options: the military again or the Muslim Brotherhood. They elected the Muslim Brotherhood in order to get away from the military, but then they tried to take over the society and impose a religious regime. So the military took over again at the request of the people. So they're back to square one. So it's no good just having a vote with regard to democracy. You have to have the systems there to support it. And if you don't have those systems there, the people are, because they're in these different factions, it's a sort of tribal situation in some respects, but it's like a religious tribalism because everybody has their own beliefs. It's a bit like, really, if you have the Protestants, the Catholics, the Evangelicals, the Baptists, instead of having peaceful discussion that we all have guns and we're shooting each other. We were leaning towards that in, for instance, Ireland, where you had the IRA. Obviously, they wanted to be independent as well from or the Southern Irish wanted to be the Northern Ireland to become as one. But the thing is, there is this division in the Northern Ireland with regard to Protestants and Catholics. So again, and guns were held there, and it has been very, very, very difficult trying to bring a peace there because of the belief system. And I think we have to transfer what we've experienced in Ireland into what they're experiencing in the Middle East. And we can't condemn Russia and Assad for what is happening there, for what they're doing, because look what we've done in Iraq, and the USA killed millions as well, thousands. All right, their intent was to bring peace, and I hope too to release the people from Saddam Hussein. But look what happened. They returned to this interfighting, like civil wars. And the same would happen if we removed Assad. And on top of that, we've got IS there that we all want to come against. So it isn't straightforward. And many people have said that even the ambassadors, I believe, to Syria, our ambassadors to Syria, said that if you take Assad away, you won't have peace. And having seen what's happened in Iraq and the interfighting that has happened there, we will most certainly have it in if President Assad is removed. So I think we should help, really hoping that Mr. Trump will come together more with Russia, and that we'll have stop this standoff with Russia, because I think Russia is doing the right thing, and we should join with them, and take the matter out of uh, the, uh, the people on the ground that are fighting in different factions. Support Russia, support Assad, help them. If we're involved in it, we can have a discussion about the sort of regime that they have there, be it on a democratic means, or where they involve more peaceful factions of the rebels that are not wanting a religious involvement in the rule of the country, and and begin to rebuild with Russia Syria, so that we're not standing on the sidelines backing the wrong people here, because it seems like we're almost backing the Al Qaeda and the other different factions, and there's probably a very small amount of people of the rebels that are genuine. The Americans need to change. Europe needs to change. We're all in a very difficult situation at the moment. Things are not going to as we thought. It's not all peace and security in Europe, and we've got IS still that are still planning bombs in Europe and elsewhere. And we also need to resolve this issue about what the message of God is ultimately, because this is what's causing all the trouble in the world. And it is possible to have what I would say is the one true message of God, based on knowing the Bible and the Quran, the Bible also including the Torah and the Jewish writings. So I just appeal to the world and to the media and to the politicians to consider this.